Well, Happy New Year and welcome to the Morning Report. Let's start 2026 with something refreshingly old fashioned facts that make powerful people uncomfortable. Okay, over the past few weeks, independent journalist Nick Shirley has been digging into what appears to be systemic fraud inside the Minnesota public systems. Fraud involving taxpayer dollars, weak or no oversight, and politically protected institutions. But if you've been following the mainstream media coverage, you wouldn't know much about that. Instead, what you've seen is a headline asking, who is Nick Shirley? Is Nick Shirley credible? Who's backing Nick Shirley? Is Nick Shirley partisan? Funny thing is, they're not really interested in who he is. They're not, they don't care. They're interested in why isn't he one of them? Because when the media stops debating the facts and starts debating the messenger, it's usually because the facts are landing too close to home. All right, so let's ground ourselves before the spin machine kicks in. Nick Shirley is reporting centers on ongoing fraud in Minnesota, particularly involving publicly funded nonprofits, state oversight failures, questionable allocation of taxpayer money, and political insulation that keeps the same actors protected. Now, this isn't an anonymous rumor. This isn't some sort of TikTok conspiracy thread. This is document-based reporting, public records, whistleblowing testimony, and an on-the-ground verification. That's exactly why it's dangerous. Well, to people who prefer fraud to be discussed only after it's safely expired and forgotten. Because Shirley isn't saying, look what happened 10 years ago. No, he's saying this is happening now, today. And when fraud is active, silence is neutral. Okay. Silence is participation. It's not neutral, it's participation. All right. So here's where the pattern becomes obvious. If Shirley were wrong, then the response would be simple. Identify the false claim, present contradictory evidence, and then move on. That would be journalism. Instead, what we're seeing is credential checking, social media archaeology, right? Guilt by association, ideological labeling. It's not fact checking, that's reputation management. Notice what's not happening. There's been no serious rebuttal of any of his documents. None of his financial trails have been refuted. No detailed breakdowns disproving his findings. Instead, we're told he's not from a major outlet, which means he's not controllable. The modern press doesn't panic when it sees misinformation. It panics when it sees unauthorized truth. And this isn't just about Minnesota, because Minnesota is a model state for progressive governance. High taxes, ridiculous spending, aggressive equity programs, heavy nonprofit reliance, because the nonprofit reliance is so you can launder the money, by the way. If fraud is systemic there, it raises an uncomfortable question. Is it a bug or is it a feature? Because when money flows through multiple intermediaries, political aligned nonprofits, minimal enforcement, and ideological shielding, fraud just doesn't slip through the cracks. It finds cover. And when someone like Nick Shirley shines a flashlight into the system, the response isn't reform, it's containment. Okay, let's just get real here. Who is Nick Shirley? It's not journalism. It's a dodge. It's a deflection. The real questions are the documents real? Are the financial transfers verifiable? Are the oversight failures documented? Have the whistleblowers been corroborated? You'll notice those questions are rarely asked on cable news. Why? because answering them might require admitting the following: the system failed, the safeguards don't work because they're not there, the money wasn't protected because it was aimed at where it landed, and the narrative is just that, a narrative, is a lie. And institutions rarely confess in real time. So what they normally do is, who does this guy think he is? Because you've seen a lot of that. Who does this guy think he is? History has a long answer to that question. He's usually the guy who shows up before the apology tour. Now, this isn't really about Nick Shirley. It's about whether independent accountability still exists in America. Because if the rule becomes only approved journalists may uncover fraud, then fraud becomes permanent. The press was never meant to be a credentialed priesthood. It was meant to be a watchdog. And watchdogs don't ask permission. So as we start a new year, here is the challenge. Not just to journalists, but to citizens. When someone uncovers something uncomfortable, don't ask, who is he? Ask this instead: is it true? Because if it is, everything else is noise. Okay, so here's your New Year's reality check. The question isn't who Nick Shirley is. The question is why so many powerful people would rather talk about him than what he's found. Happy New Year. My name is Willie Lawson. This has been the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.